Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Hokey smokes. This is my third time attempting to do this. First time, I just messed up horribly and didn't feel good about it, and so just started all over. Second time, minute into it, and then all of a sudden, I ate some salty salty potato chips last night, and so I got dead skin from all of the extra saltiness of the chips, and I started talking and just sheets of dead skin were coming off my lips. It was gross, and so I stopped. Yay, third time's the charm. And of course, did I say that right? I have no ideas. But anyway, I have an appointment today, so I'm also just everything is all thrown off. I need routine and habit, and of course, anytime something's different, an appointment of any kind, that's bad. And of course, this for a colonoscopy, can't just do it online, even though it's a consultation. So I have to be there at 10:45 today. My housemate's gonna drive me, and thank goodness I don't need to record anything. I just need to do some editing and uploading. So still, hours and hours out of the day are going to be gone, and my routine is going to be broken, and life is life. It happens. Yay. Still, though, that's in the future for today, after this is all done. So thumbs up for that. So, some of the other things that have been happening in my life, because that's just going to happen and not happening yet. I talked the other day about difficult music, and then before that, even a couple days or weeks, my time sense is still a mess, thinking versus feeling on music, and how it's taken me a long time to be able to get to that point because of my makeup, the way I am, the way my brain is. It's taken me a long time to be able to do that, because beforehand, when I was married to my wife and such, and she was still alive, I really liked the album Kid A by Radiohead. And there's the one song, Everything in Its Right Place. And I've talked about this. Loved the song. And then I read the lyrics. Hated the song after that. Having troubles with my dentures, my sincere apologies. Hated the song after that. But that's because I was intellectualizing it, and you can't intellectualize it because it just doesn't work. You read the lyrics outside of the song, and it's awful. But when you're listening to it, it's perfect, because the repetition, all the extra sounds, the music, it just drives in how it feels to be this way. So intellectualizing, not always good. Like a lot of Lana Del Rey songs. When she's singing ethereally, I often cannot clearly understand what she's saying, but it affects me very strongly emotionally. And when I can hear her words, because she's singing strongly, I don't feel any real emotional connection to it. Coupled, of course, with I have issues with understanding symbolism, especially when it comes to music, and again, that's just the way my head is wired. But reading the lyrics for that ruined it until years later I was able to get to that understanding. And just understanding that other songs like that are for feeling and not intellectualizing. There is a song that I reacted to on my reaction channel yesterday. I can't remember if I talked about it. I might have already, but it's Animal Collective with the song Leaf House. And if you read the lyrics, it is banal, inane, stupid. The lyrics make the song stupid. But it's not for intellectualizing. It's for feeling. Because as I was talking about in the reaction, a lot of what you're hearing, I used to take LSD like candy back in the mid-90s. What you hear when you are on LSD is what the song sounds like when you're listening to it. When you're just hearing a song, You can, like, if you just hear a simple note, like if you are on LSD, you can hear that go gang 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 as you're listening to it. And there was a lot of that going on in the song. When they were saying about this house is sad. And it wasn't just this house is sad, it was cut down into individual pieces of the lyrics of individual voices just going to add sad. And it's like, oh my God. Yeah, the song is just ridiculous. But you're not supposed to think about what you're hearing. You're supposed to be feeling it. And when you're feeling it, hokey smokes. It is perfect. Again, it's taken me a long time to be able to do that. I'm glad I can. Finally. Yay! A very good thing. I have also got stuff that I wanted to talk about on my list that's about the creative thinking, creative writing, my cosmic horror framework, and the world of the bone-hurting juice. Even though that's just a very, very small place that only happens in basically one little village. Even though here's a really minor thing, but in the context of this world, because the Dwarlen, the fungal ills, are just, it is a point that they are symbiotic and not parasitic. They have become, with their language, the Esperanto of their world, where they are. And by that is, 100 and some odd years ago, there was this Polish person who wanted to make a second language for the world so that we could all communicate. Because language is culture, and he understood that learning another culture's language is hard. It's harsh. You're giving up your own to learn that. But a third-party language, constructed to be a language that worked and had no exceptions and no differences, and that was easy to learn so that everyone would learn that. So you didn't have to learn someone else's language. Everybody knew Esperanto. I probably pronounced that incorrectly again, but after so many years of not saying it, there you go. In this world, that is what the Dwarlen want. Speak their language, and then you can speak to anyone. Because anyone that the Dwarlen deal with, everyone speaks Dwarlen. And so everybody can communicate. But language and culture being what it is, that sort of thing slides around. And even in other cultures, in other languages, they're using Dwarlen words. One of the biggest ones around is that they use the Dwarlen words for outposts and cities and villages and all that. And they have a very modular language in that it starts off, there's a san, S-A-N-J, that's like an outpost, basically one person to a family, and they go out, and that's a san. And then when you have a sanya, that is a step up, and then a san yad, a san yada, a san yadan, a san yadana, a san yadanak, and a san yadanaka is the capital of a huge place. Everybody uses those words. It doesn't matter what your culture is now. You could be one of the horse-riding Elvandri, the nomadic dwarves of this world, and you're going to go back to your san, or back to your sanya, or your sanyad, in the midst of all your other languages. One big thing that I did want to say, though, because of language, I was thinking of this one, and it is kind of sad, but that's the way life is. There was the old Calendran people who all died with the zombie plague that is becoming sentient independently of the actual plague, so it's a new race of people, the new Calendrans. Their bodies are the animated skeletal remains, but their minds are not the plague, and they are a sentient people. Now, Ilchenka has been answering to Ilchenka, ever since he was alive. But it's somewhere around the time of the story, so it's the one I'm telling now with the bone-hurting juice, where they discover where and how Ilchenka's name actually is. It is an old Calendran name. But the zombie plague, with their accent, they cannot accurately say all of the old words. They just don't come out right. They can hear it in their heads, all of the words, in the voice that they would have. But when they try to say it, it comes out like this, like nothing that they are thinking, so they don't speak Old Calendran. But Ilchenka, she finds when they're adventuring, there's a painting, and it's got her name on it. And as it turns out, it's less Ilchenka, and it's actually closer to Ulshenga. But nobody is alive who speaks Old Calendran. There are books and textbooks in some of the universities at the San Yaranaka, but there's no one who actually speaks it. So when she's telling them that her name is Ilchenka, it's, Ulshenga. But their zombie virus plague magical thing, with its accent, it just can't say the words right. So when she's answering to Ilchenka, she's hearing Ulshenga in her head. But for the last 70 years, she's had to answer in the outside world to just Ilchenka. And there's a bit of a difference in how that sounds and feels, wouldn't you think? So, yay, thumbs up on that. Also, been thinking about their world, and I've mentioned before how stuff have to make sense for me. I'm not a world designer. I'm not nature. And we find it as human beings hard to actually think a lot of things through. So when I say that there's a desert that cuts off the Calendran Mountains in this world from the rest of the place, I don't know how deserts work. I could not accurately make a desert in my head. I can't make it work properly, and it wouldn't work just to separate stuff like that. Anyway, it's a desert in an odd place, so I had to try and figure out why and what. So in a previous aeon, one of the civilizations that left the planet, when it left and went out, it didn't do so peacefully. They did spread out, but they maintained a presence on their own old world, and they were rather masters of exotic metals and alloys, which is just you mix things together to make new stuff and exotic stuff. It might be from alloys and metals that you have to bring into existence through manipulation of stuff on the periodic table. One of these things that they'd had, one of these alloys, had kind of a design flaw, but it was so hard, so difficult to reach that point that they never really, they made fail safes to work on it, but you couldn't really force it into this super stressed state, except of course that someone out there did make that a point of war. And they used this device to be able to super stress these exotic alloys. So in various ships and satellites and such, and every place where they use these metals and alloys of the specific type, you would realize that you were under attack when suddenly everything that used these parts stopped working, because under super stress they would collapse their molecular structure into a much more metastable molecular form, very crystalline, which of course means in its crystalline form, it stopped functioning as it was supposed to. So all of your technology suddenly shut down. And then all of those crystalline parts are just screaming audibly. They're still super stressed. And when they hit the mega super stress point, it just collapses into this half the size of a grain of salt dodecahedron spheres. 12-sided things. Little 6-sided hexagon faces. So I've used the words wrong, but still. That collapses into this metastable stuff. It's like sand, but it will never break down. It doesn't interact with anything. It won't melt. You can heat it up to white hot, pick it up, and it's glowing white hot in your hand. We have stuff like that today. So there's huge swaths of this stuff, pockets of it everywhere. Something gigantic fell across the entire continent and then was super stressed and then bam, split up into these pieces, and that's the desert. So thumbs up on that. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments. My community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments up to. Haven't gotten 25 in a long time. So we'll comment up to however many we get. Or thank each person. If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended. I'm an American English speaker, and even though I count American Sign Language with all my various issues, I do forget things quite a bit. I'm getting better, but 05 Bradley Natan Kanaz Dolan to lied. Hokey smokes, and thank you. You Roman Reese, thumbs up and thank you. Excuse me. Nicole X, thumbs up. Alec Buckley, greatly appreciated. Fnordathoth, I like the name, and thumbs up. Jordan Mel, greatly appreciated. Confused Owl 29, Hokey Smokes, and good to see you. We have Eric's, thumbs up. There is Demonibs, I sure hope I'm close, thank you. And then Favel, greatly appreciated. Captain Jupiter, thumbs up and thank you. Ice Gribs, thumbs up. Carl Hansen, greatly appreciated. Johnny K, we agree about reaction channels. And then we have Ethan V, thumbs up. June Sunshine, greatly appreciated. Santiago Quiraz Hernandez, sure hope I'm at least halfway close. And Ice Damon, thumbs up, thank you, each and every one of you. You get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, and it is appreciated. No end, thumbs up and thank you. I do not know where the text file is, the video description for the device you're watching this on, but inside I have links to all of my various channels. If you could check it out, that would be cool. There's also links to like my Patreon and Twitter and Facebook, and yeah, I mentioned the Patreon, so now that I did it all wrong, if you could become a patreon.com patron like one of these beautiful and awesome people, that would be beautiful and awesome. If you'd like to help me out financially without becoming a patron, I do have a PayPal link wherever the text file description is. And of course, I do have an Amazon wish list link that I will hopefully get updated before I go to my appointment today. That would be good. If you could check that out, that would be awesome. Now, do not feel obligated. I do not feel entitled. And if you cannot donate or you simply do not donate, I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart. So thank you very much. And of course, if you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence. And if you could hit the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very cool indeed. Thumbs up for that. Well, Hokey Smokes is stated I got my appointment today, and then I've got other things, so hopefully it won't be too much of a disruption of my life. Thumbs up for that. So with the Covfefe bug still raging around the world, and of course, even as it's horrific, the United States is opening up, even as deaths and sicknesses are just rocketing past previous levels. Please be safe and be smart. Try not to go out among others unless you have to. And if you do maintain your social distancing, please wear a mask, wash your hands often, try not to touch your face. And Hokey Smokes, get vaxxed if you can, get a booster if you can. Just be smart, be safe. So until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. And quite frankly, that is a very good thing.